Testing. All right. Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? All right. Well, yeah, thank you very much. All right, well, I have a PowerPoint presentation put together today, and I'm going to make the best of it here because I'm going to have to be reading off of my laptop since it's too much light out here. You guys won't be able to see a lot of what I have put together here. Sally, I do apologize. So, first of all, for those who might be able to see this, again, my name is Daniel Benoit. I am the founder of the E.C.B.R.O, the East Coast Bigfoot Researchers Organization. And I am a wildlife and Bigfoot researcher. And please note that wildlife, I put that before Bigfoot. Wildlife is very important to understand. A lot of people, you think you're familiar with your wildlife, but I tell you what, there's so many people involved with Bigfoot research, and over the years I've seen so many people giving Bigfoot credit for things that we find or experience or hear when our known species of wildlife are really the main suspects. So throughout my presentation, you'll kind of see me give an objective approach to this. I try not to come across as a negative Nelly, as some may refer to it. I'm just very objective. I look at things in a logical sense. I try to put out critical thinking. But today, what I'm going to go through with my presentation, I want to kind of share a little bit of everything. My presentation's somewhat random, but with what I'm going to get into, we're going to be talking about primates and what Bigfoot might be. You'll hear me ask you guys a few questions. And don't be shy. I mean, they're simple, basic questions. So we're going to get right into it. So on this next slide, I got pictures of various primates. And then there's a couple pictures of an artist's rendition of what Bigfoot looks like, based off of eyewitness accounts. The details on these are fascinating. I think they're very fascinating. And of course, one of the images that you can't really see, it almost resembles, for those who are familiar with the 1967 Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin footage. Yeah, some eyewitness accounts or descriptions actually portray what Patty looked like. Anyone familiar with what I'm referring to? Okay, all right, awesome. Of course, now this other one, as you can't see, it's got the more of what we call the sagittal crest, the more of the pointy head. A lot of reports that I've gathered over the years, and I should back up and say, first of all, a lot of my reports that I gather are from actually out of Virginia, and that's where I'm based out of. To be more specific, the Shenandoah Valley. I've gathered a lot of reports from eyewitnesses over the years, and yeah, a lot of the eyewitness descriptions describe more of a rounded head, almost to a point, again, with a sagittal crest, for those who are familiar with that. And then there's another one here that's almost similar. Sadly, I really wish you guys could see some of what I'm going to be showing you, so I'll make the best of it here. All right, so let's move forward. We're going to get into more primates. You're going to hear me talk a lot about primates. And when I talk about primates, scientifically speaking, me and you, we're considered human primates. Then you have your non-human primates, chimpanzees, gorillas, and so forth. So many scientists agree that what distinguishes humans from apes most is our ability to use language to form complex functioning in groups. But others believe it is our physical differences, cognition, or culture that sets us apart. Yeah, then as far as what else classifies humans as apes, well, if you want to point out evolution, adaptation, and as far as being apes don't have tails. People call monkey apes. Monkeys are monkeys. Monkeys are not apes. They are a primate, but again, primates don't have tails. So here's just a few examples of primates. gorilla, the bonobo, chimpanzee, and us humans. So, all right. Let's see here. All right, so this is our, and don't be shy, don't be afraid to answer. I'm just curious to know what your view is or what you believe. But what do you believe Bigfoot or Sasquatch is? If I could get a show of hands, if you guys want to throw a response. Oh, we're shy, huh? All right, wait a minute, we got a hand right here. Part human, so like kind of along the lines of what you would refer to as like a human hybrid, maybe? Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Yeah. Anyone else? Bill, you want to get in on this? A hominid? Okay. Okay. Anyone else? All right, wait, we got a hand back here. Half person, what was the? Gorilla, okay. So, all right, so we're kind of, I'm picking up on half and half, so that's kind of falling in the lines of one of the things I'll be bringing up here shortly. So, you know, right here on my screen, these are just a few examples of what some people believe. And of course, I got question marks behind each one. An alien, some people believe they are from out of this world, from a, Neanderthal. I'm sure most of you heard of a Neanderthal. Neanderthal is basically a subspecies of human. And then again, I got ape with a question mark. All right. Now right here, I know you can't really see the image. As you see, it's half ape, half human. Well, half chimpanzee, half human. With question mark, human hybrid. I bring this up, I present this because this is what a lot of people believe. That they are half and half, if you want to put it that way. So we're going to talk about this very briefly. Anyone ever hear about the Russian experiments that happened in the early 1900s? Right, yeah. Well, we're going to get into that a little bit here. The Russian experiment. All right, the guy's name is Ivanov, or whatever. I'm going to just call him Ivan. So Ivan outlined his idea as early as 1910 in a presentation to the World Congress of Zoologists in Graz, which is in Austria, by the way. In the 1920s, Ivan carried out a series of experiments cultivating and inseminating 3 female chimpanzees with human sperm. But he failed to achieve a pregnancy. Who was Ivan? Ivan was a Russian and Soviet biologist who specialized in the field of artificial insemination and the interspecific hybridization of animals. He is famous for his controversial attempts to create a human ape hybrid by inseminating 3 female chimpanzees with human sperm. But again, he failed. This was an attempt by the scientist, this biologist. And why am I bringing this up? All right. I don't want to, let me back up, I jumped ahead too far. I know this sounds silly, but look, you plant an apple seed, you're not going to get oranges. Biologically, I'm pointing things out in a biological sense. A horse, well, let's talk about animals. You breed a horse, you're not going to get a cat from a horse, you're not going to get a dog from a cat. Everything has its own seed within itself. Now, all these different species of animals, they all have subspecies, but they all fall under that particular species. You've got different species of cats, different species of canine, different species of horses, and so forth. I could go on and on and on. But so yeah, chimpanzees. Science says that they are our closest living relative. 98.8%, which is a 1.2% difference. Now, that's very close. That's very close. But we're still different. It doesn't make us, just because it's that close doesn't make us chimpanzees. We're human. But then again, we're still considered apes, according to science. Our DNA, our genes, cannot be inserted into one of these other species. It's not going to work. So that's something to keep in mind. Take note of this. All right, switching gears a little bit. Here's another subject I like to point out. Those who could read this or can't read this, Gigantopithecus. Is anyone here not familiar with who or what Gigantopithecus is, or actually was? What's that? Okay, well, we're going to get into that. I'll kind of inform you. For those who don't know who or what Gigantopithecus is. Has anyone ever seen the movie The Jungle Book? The latest one, King Louie? That big giant looking orangutan? Well, he was considered a Gigantopithecus. So again, I know my images you can't pick up, but let's talk about Gigantopithecus before I read this off to you a little bit. Gigantopithecus was believed to be in the orangutan family. He resembled more of an orangutan, all right, which like 200, 300 something thousand years ago, scientists said they existed. Now, we do have fossil records of Gigantopithecus. He was between a 10 to 12 foot tall giant primate, okay? So I'm trying to fill you in on a little bit what he is, who he was. Now, depending on how you view and look into the subject of Gigantopithecus, a lot of people don't believe that's not a possibility of him being anything related to Bigfoot. Some scientists believe that he was just straight up a knuckle walker like most primates. They don't believe he was bipedal, although a lot of species that are not bipedal, they've been known to stand up on hind legs and reach food sources, such as different plants and whatnot. But let me read this off to you real quick. Many cryptozoologists have proposed that Bigfoot is a relic population of Gigantopithecus blackeye. That's the scientific term for what Gigantopithecus is. Breaking it down, it just means giant ape. Okay? Gigantopithecus means giant ape. The view of Gigantopithecus was previously non-bipedal. However, as mentioned in BBC's Walking with Cavemen, this is actually a published article in a magazine, I believe. The view of it is a bipedal ape is accepted by some scientists due to the jawbone fossils. And as it states here, it was up to 12 feet tall on its hind legs and is estimated to weigh around anywhere from 400 up to 1,200 pounds. Excuse me, 1,400 on this. Now, it depends on what you research and read on this. Yeah, some will say up to only 1,000 pounds. And of course, this is a perfect description of a living Sasquatch. Now, some people talk about there's different types of Bigfoot, different types of Sasquatch. I believe in that. I'm not going to deny that. I think all that depends on where they live, their region, their environment, their habitat. I'm not going to get into the different ones, like Pacific Northwest. They describe giants out there. Here on the East Coast, a lot of them, based off of eyewitness accounts, they range anywhere from 7 up to maybe 8 feet. Based off of the reports I've gathered, that's the average. Yeah, about 7 to 8 feet. Of course, in Virginia, the reports I've gathered over the years, a lot of them average around the 7 foot mark. I've heard a couple 8-footers as far as being reported. So, but yeah, Gigantopithecus is believed to be in the orangutan family. So, okay. So what I'm presenting right here is 2 species of orangutan. Since we're on the subject of Gigantopithecus being in the orangutan family, the 2 species of orangutans that I'm presenting to you is the Bornean orangutan and the Sumatran orangutan. Now, a little fun fact about these 2 species. For many, many years, scientists only knew about these 2 species of primate. These 2 species of orangutans were the only 2 species within their family to ever exist. Now, something happened, very modern, as recent as 2017, another species of orangutan was discovered. The Tapanuli, or Tapanuli, whatever how you want to pronounce it, Tapanuli orangutan. The latest discovery of the orangutan family, or a primate for that matter, as of 2017. Yeah, that's only, what, 6 years ago. And what makes up the difference on this particular species is that they had different genetic traits. It had frizzier hair compared to what the other species were. All right, and they had flatter faces. So, all right, so yeah, so this baffled scientists. This left them like, all right, where was this species all these years? Why did we only know about 2 specific species? Well, why am I bringing this out to you? Why am I pointing this out to you? Because, all right, many of us believe or know in Sasquatch. I know he exists, okay? But the species is not recognized by science. It's not publicly known. And it hasn't officially been discovered, because if it has, I think the whole world would know about it. Most of the world knows about it because a lot of us that believe and know that are involved in it, we're considered crazies, right? Well, primates, if you entertain the thought that, what's that? Yeah, we all are. So, what's that? Yeah. Exactly, right. Yeah, panda bear. Yeah, there's a lot of species that they had no clue that were living among us. And that's why I'm pointing this out to you. Bigfoot does live among us. I'm not afraid to admit it. Okay? Among us. Yeah. Yeah. So let's entertain the thought, if no matter what your view is on what you believe Sasquatch is, I want you to, let's entertain the thought that he is a type of primate. Again, primates are very highly intelligent. They are a social species. They're much like me and you. They hunt in groups, they socialize, and so much more. Their communication skills, yeah, they're a little different than ours, but we share a lot in common, believe it or not. So if something like a Sasquatch has not been officially discovered by science, the science, they're very objective on what we present to them. They don't want to believe our evidence. We have evidence, we have found evidence, but again, till a Bigfoot, unfortunately, sadly to say, unless a Sasquatch body is on their lab table, they're not going to accept it right now. So, I mean, a lot of us don't believe in providing a body, but unfortunately, that's what it's going to take, you know? So, with that being said, all right, now, I would have showed this one a little sooner before the orangutans, but I wanted to stay on topic here, so, but we're going to back up a little bit earlier to another primate discovery. The billy ape. Anyone ever heard of the billy ape? Okay. Well, let me tell you about the billy ape. Let me read this off real quick. Within the Billy Forest, which is deep down in the Congo, in 1996, local hunters told tales of giant apes who howled at the moon, killed lions, and were immune to poisonous darts. All right. Eamon was a researcher, explorer. Eamon uncovered an ape skull of his own during his first trip to the area, a discovery that only made his explorer's itch grow stronger. Now, the billy ape, called the giant lion-eating chimpanzee of the magic forest, people are in search of the Congo's ape, billy ape, the lion killer. In fact, the billy ape is huge by chimpanzee requirements or proportions, such as height, and the height can exceed over 5 feet and about the height of a gorilla. The skulls are bigger than a chimp, and their footprints are bigger than a gorilla's. The billy ape, they're around between up to 400 pounds. That's pretty big for a primate that we know exists. Basically, I mean, the Billy ape is a type of chimpanzee, much bigger, stronger. So, again, take note of what I'm presenting to you, that these species of primate are being discovered, okay? And these are species that they've been around for a long time, but they're being discovered. And at least science is acknowledging these species. Now, I always wonder, and I ask myself, if Bigfoot was presented to a science, would they actually officially acknowledge it? I don't know. There's a possibility that they might even already know. Some people believe the government's involved. I'm not going to get into that, but yeah, a lot of people do believe the government knows already that they do exist. But why would they not present it to the public? Same thing if you tell them if you saw a mountain lion. I'm going to tell you, in Virginia, we have mountain lions. But your authorities will deny it if you tell them. Yeah, I've heard. And a lot of the states on the East Coast, I mean, they don't want to admit to it. Because if the public knew about it, if the authorities and the government actually admitted to it, you know, because you got people that will believe whatever the government will tell you. So if they were to admit to it, then yeah, it would put a lot of fear in people. So yeah, I'm not trying to get too far off course, but yeah, if the authorities would admit to all this, I really believe that it would put a hurting on the economy. Let me throw out one example. I didn't even include this in my presentation. All right, out in the Pacific Northwest, back as early as the 1960s, and then later in the 80s, and even into the early 90s, the spotted owl was discovered and noted on a few different occasions. Washington State, for example, when the spotted owl was discovered, immediately that spotted owl was put on the endangered species list. And what happened when that when it went on the endangered species list? The logging industry came to a dead stop, and that was a big part of the economy out there, logging. And that put a lot of people out of work, and just the economy started to crash. You know, what if Sasquatch was actually put on the endangered species list if he became publicly discovered? We have what we could possibly look at as a type of human that might be living out in the woods. Whatever how you want to look at Bigfoot, a human, primate, whatever how you want to view him. So think about that. What would happen if Bigfoot was officially discovered? Yeah, a lot of stuff will come to a halt. They would have to go through a lot of legal procedures. They would possibly have to put him on the endangered species list because the forest is his home, just like many other species. So, I mean, does that make sense to you? I mean, if you think about that, if, you know, we can't bring him in, I don't believe we could bring him into our society and live like us, although I believe he is highly intelligent. But I don't know, this is just something I wanted to point out to you, kind of, you know, let you guys think about it a little bit. So, jumping ahead here, there's two different fingerprints right here, two different fingers. You got a primate and a human. You got an eight finger and a human finger. The only reason I'm bringing this up to you, I want to make note, a lot of people don't know this, but there's only two species in the world that have dermal ridges. Humans and non-human primates. So I just want to share that little fun fact with you. All right. A lot of people like to look at our Native Americans. I told you I'm a little random here. So we're going to focus on Native Americans for just a brief moment. Native Americans acknowledged a lot of our wildlife. And as you see in the pictograph right here, there's a lot of various drawings in here. Part of this here, you got large footprints. And right here, which you'll see, you might be able to see in one of the other ones coming up here shortly. It shows a little bit better. But one of their famous documentations on their native art was the hairy man. Some of you may have seen some of these images, even on shirts or other merchandise. But these are real Native American art. And it's art or drawings that they put on their walls in the caves. They document everything they see and they experience. So this is Native American history. Part of their art, the big hairy man. And here's one here. Like I said, this might show up a little bit better. This is the famous pictograph of the big hairy man. This is one here you'll probably see around, or like I said, you probably have seen around elsewhere. So, yes, so Native Americans, they acknowledge Bigfoot. Almost every Native American tribe throughout North America has a legend or folklore based off of a Bigfoot legend or being, creature, or whatever how you want to call it. A lot of them, there's a lot of views on how Native Americans looked at Bigfoot. The big, the big brother of the forest, the guardian of the forest, and so forth. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you, Bill. Yeah, on totem poles. Absolutely. All right, so for those who don't know about this, this is what I was talking about earlier. Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin footage. This is a still shot from video footage that Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin took October 20th, 1967. And for those who've never seen this image, fortunately you can't see the details on it, but this particular Bigfoot that was filmed by these two gentlemen was surnamed Patty. Does anyone know why we call her Patty? And unfortunately, I mean, I hope I don't offend nobody, but the reason why she was noted to be a female because she displayed, yes, breasts. Now, this was the film was taken with a 16mm camera. A quick little fun fact about this: a lot of people view this footage very objective. That a lot of it, many people believe in this video footage. Science has been involved. Science has dissected this video footage left and right. There's been many copies of this made over the years. Bill Munns, a graphic video analyst who had copies of the original footage, and he's an expert in his field on analyzing film. And everything that he came forward and discovered, everything points towards a real creature. No, more specifically, it wasn't a person in a costume. Another fun fact, back during that time, both Disney and Hollywood did not have the means or the technology, a costume to resemble this. Okay. If you've never seen this before, if you're having trouble seeing this, look up, you can even go on YouTube. There's a video that's put together where it shows this very well. But yeah, look up the Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin footage, the 4K video. The original video, I believe it was like a little over a minute long. So, but yeah, 1967. All right, so back in 1968, again, you guys can't see this, but The Planet of the Apes came out March 27 of 1968. And for anyone that's familiar with the original Planet of the Apes, that's the best they had back then. That's all they had back then. If you look at the details of Patty, nothing of her resembles what they had in Hollywood. I mean, they all look more like just monkey people, ape people. So, one thing I wanted to point out to you. So, you know, Bigfoot, it's been a worldwide phenomenon. Stories, reports, and sightings from all around the world of the hairy elusive legend date back hundreds of years, and as the legend has become more known and less taboo to the public, eyewitnesses have come forward to share their sightings and experiences. But unfortunately, many remain silent due to the fear of mockery, ridicule, and not to mention, they don't put their reputation. They had a lot of people have a reputation. I'm going to tell you, noted right here, I've actually spoken to law enforcement in Virginia that's actually come forward and had shared their sightings with me while on duty, patrolling at night, riding down back roads. Some of the other people I've gathered stories and reports are hunters, more specifically bear hunters. Now, A lot of these guys have been hunting for years. They know they're bears. But when they're telling you they see something bipedal peeking out behind a tree at them, I'm telling you, they know it's not a bear. So, and again, much of the public, they're not aware, nor are they able to understand what they don't know. So a lot of people, you know, they, as far as the mock, the ridicule, I've had a share of it. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I get people laughing at me, but I present myself publicly to people. I get to talking to random people I come across, and you'll be surprised what you learn that way. Either they're going to laugh about it, or just, you know, they're cool and mild about it. They're chill about it. They're like, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't believe her. But then on the other hand, you get people like, well, I believe there's something out there. You know, they're on the fence about it, which that's totally fine. And that's why a lot of us that come to these events, they like to point things out. They like to, you know, and kind of give people an idea what's there. Yes, I've seen Bigfoot back in 2014, which I might get into that a little later if there's time. I don't even know what the time is right now. But so, yeah, here's a few names I wanted to share with you guys, because Bigfoot is known all around the world. Almost any region, almost every region across the world has a Bigfoot legend or description. But see, these are some of the names. Sasquatch, of course, as I mentioned. The Yeti, the Yowie. Yowie, I don't know, Yowie is kind of a common name if you're familiar with it, which is based out of Australia. The Almas, the Skunk Ape, Florida, and other southern states down on the southern eastern coast. The Grassman, the Grassman, Ohio, the Ohio Grassman. Wendigo, the Orang Pendek, that's one from out of Indonesia, which is a very small primate type Bigfoot. The Mapinguri, and then you have the Yurin. Yurin, I believe, is China. So yeah, these are just a few examples. There's so many more. I just wanted to throw a few names to get you familiar with them, but Bigfoot is known all around the world. Posted a couple pictures of some of my findings. Here was a 17.5 track found in Virginia, and it wasn't far from West Virginia in this particular area. It was in the mud. Of course, right here, there's water in the track, so, but this one here clearly showed a wide heel and all 5 toes. Now, I know on this presentation, for those who might be able to see it, it looks short, but of course, you know, the presentation's only going to show whatever, but this track was 17.5 inches. I have a water bottle put next to this track for scale. But yeah, this one here clearly just displayed the heel up to the toes. The toes actually really showed up actually pretty good on this one, because a lot of pictures, when it comes to foot tracks, a lot of your track pictures ain't gonna do justice. But it is what it is. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Which one I just showed? The track I was showing that was 17.5 inches. Yeah. So, all right. So again, these are a collection of foot casts I have. Some from over the years, and I know you can't see it, but this one right here, as I noted right here, the cast to the top far right, the cast made for my own foot, and I did this to use for comparisons to other tracks that I have come across. So yeah, that one there, I made that one in my own backyard, and it came out perfect. Yeah. So yeah, that was perfect, because like I said, I used that for comparison, and I know you probably can't see these other ones, but these are other ones I have found and they cast them over the years. But yeah, that's something I recommend you guys trying. It's good. It's a good practice, is to get some plaster, play around in your yard. It's good to have a few different sizes. If you got young children, projects to do with them. Yeah, make a footstep in your yard, you know, and then make some plaster, pour it nice and slow. You want to make a more, anybody that's familiar with like pancake batter, it's basically the consistency you want. So you usually let it sit for about, but yeah, make a few casts, keep them on, you know, for record, to have on comparison if you do come across. a real Bigfoot track. If you come across bear tracks are perfect too. It's always good to have bear tracks because so many people find bear tracks, and because there's a lack of awareness or there's simple misinformation, a lot of people misidentify bear tracks and call them Bigfoot tracks. And I'll could be very different, especially a bear track. All right, so we're coming close to the end here. One of the things I want to share with you here. Okay, we got a little time here. All right, so there's a new TV series. Everyone familiar with Netflix, I'm assuming? Well, there's another network. It's called Paraflix. Anyone here ever heard of Paraflix? Well, it's just like Netflix. I will tell you the description is a lot cheaper. But Paraflix, P-A-R-A, Flix, F-L-I-X-X. It's a streaming TV network. And there's a new TV series, new show on there. It's called Hometown Haunts. Hometown Haunts, they actually meet up with eyewitnesses. There's actually a couple series on this. It's a new one, 2 series. And I was actually filmed for the first episode. It's about an hour long. And it's titled The Beast Lake. So, again, that's on Paraflix. The Beast of Elkhorn. Check out, I think it's like $3.99 for a monthly description. Yes. This is another one. This was my very first documentary I was ever filmed for. It's called The Elusive Legend, an E.C.B.R.O. story. You can find that watch for free on Tubi TV. It's on YouTube now. So yeah, Elusive Legend, an E.C.B.R.O. story. This year, I was featured in. This was filmed out in the state of Illinois. The Hunt for the Shawnee Sasquatch. That there went really well. The filming went real well. The investigations went real well. We actually saw a few interesting things on this one. There's actually thermal footage at the end that was shared on there. So you can definitely check that. This one here, was a TV show that I was filmed for out in Washington State just about 6 months ago. You can actually watch the interview on YouTube. If you go to Extreme Expeditions Northwest LLC YouTube channel, you can watch. Again, this was filmed and recorded out in Washington. I had a lot of fun out there. All right, and this is one of my books that I author. It's a small research book. It's actually a field guide, Wildlife and Bigfoot Field Guide in an Objective View by yours truly. Here you can find Amazon, and you actually go to the direct publishing site. You go lulu.com. Here's another one of my books, Look Bigfoot. All right, and then it has my contact information, other information that you can up. My personal website, which is ECBRO.com. Got my email ECBRO98@gmail.com. Down here, I know you can't see it, but I host the annual Virginia Bigfoot Conference every June. The event that I host is happening next weekend in Virginia. It's BA Big. And then, of course, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Pretty much all of the places. I'm not hard to find. One thing about this image here, I just have different networks, and like Roku TV, Tubi TV, where you can find me. See what else we got here. Oh, and then, yeah, my YouTube channel. Those who like watching YouTube, my YouTube channel, E.C.B.R.O. I normally host a Friday night podcast. I interview a lot of other eyewitnesses, some talk discussions. And if you go through and browse through my YouTube channel, there's a lot of my field videos on there. There's a couple of short documentaries on there. If you're not into YouTube, but you do the podcast, my YouTube podcasts are actually uploaded to my radio program. You can listen to them on any of your favorite platform of podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and so many more. So if you go to E.C.B.R.O. Bigfoot Radio, you'll find the podcast that way. But yeah, my Friday night podcast, which I've been taking a break on that. I normally go live Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. I think we're coming to an end here. Because I didn't know how, yeah, there it goes. So, before I shut up completely, I guess, was there any questions or? What's that? Okay. Oh, you got to turn off the mic? Is that what you're doing? I don't know how loud that is. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit better. So, all right, yeah, I have had several different experiences over the years. The one in particular that I will share with you took place back in 2014, May 3rd, to be exact, May 3rd of 2014. Now, I wasn't alone. It was during one of my group campouts. I host group campouts in Virginia. I try to host them at least once a year. We already had one a few weeks ago, and we got another one coming up in September. Well, back in 2014, we had a group of us. We were like, I think there was 6 of us total. All right, and yeah, we did a lot of exploring and everything during the day. We found some cool things and whatnot. When we go camping and stuff, we keep it relaxed. We try not to kill ourselves out there in the woods. We like to take our time, enjoy nature. We love the outdoors. But let's get right to the encounter. May 3rd, 2014. After a day of exploring during the daytime, we decided to do a night hike. Now, of course, when the night hike took place, it wasn't quite night yet. It was still a little bit daylight left. And we decided from where we were camped at, let's walk down to the lake. Like I said, it was almost about a mile walk one way. And well, when we got down to the lake, surprisingly, there was nobody there, which was nice. So it was nice and quiet. We paired up in twos and spread out around the lake. And, you know, we didn't hear much going on there. We had a few things going on because a couple of us had parabolic microphones. So anyone that's familiar with them, they're like, or somebody know them as a bionic ear. You can hear things up to 300 feet, maybe long, further away, depending on how long, or how loud the vocalization might be. But yeah, after hanging around, hearing a few things, we actually had a response from one of our vocals. But yeah, I'm kind of cutting through a little bit here, trying to get to the main part. So when it was getting dark, we've been out there for quite a while, and it was approaching midnight. And we got on the radios like, all right, guys, we got to head back to camp. And so, yeah, we regrouped, and we stepped foot, and we worked our way back to camp. Now, we were walking back in single file line. I was actually ahead of everybody. Well, I was in the lead. I wasn't too far ahead of everybody. Well, as we're walking out from the lake, out to the main forest road, I was taking notice, we were all, well, first of all, let me say this. We were all talking. We weren't trying to be quiet. Our main goal was just to get back to camp. Well, over on the right side, I noticed a set of eye shine, which was like, oh, it's a deer, And what was interesting about this deer, I mean, I was kind of surprised and shocked. It was close as, like, I am to this front row right here. But it was walking down the side of the road nonchalantly, like it wasn't spooked and nothing. Which I kind of thought that was odd because, this area, even though it was out of hunting season, I mean, there's hunting in there. And a lot of the deer, they're usually very skittish, easily spooked. I don't know, I just thought it was odd. But not long after seeing this deer, of course, it wandered off further into the darkness off the edge of the road. Walking up past where we saw the deer, something else catches my attention. And probably from where I am, I don't know if you guys see this gentleman right here with a yellow cup. Something else catches my attention. That's roughly about the distance of what I was seeing, what I saw next. Well, off the edge of the road, excuse me, there was a set of, well, I didn't know what it was. There was something yellow reflecting. Keep in mind, we all had headlamps on, and this was after midnight. I didn't know what I was seeing. In the national forest where I'm at, where I camp at, in random places, you see these little yellow signs, and a lot of them will say no vehicles beyond this point. And I was like, well, that's an odd place for one of those to be there. So I'm still staring at whatever this was, and all of a sudden it became in focus, and I noticed it blinked, where it was actually a set of eyes. And because I'm seeing it kind of low, I was like, what the heck? I called my buddy Tracy, was the next one behind me. I said, Tracy, and I'm not going to use the language or the words I used at the time, but I said, is that a mountain lion? I mean, I don't know, that was the first thought that ran through my head, because what I'm seeing is large yellowish looking eyes sitting kind of low to the ground. So that was my first initial thought, was it a mountain lion? But we're both staring at it, and we see it kind of zip away. All right, so whatever it was went away. But Tracy's like, guys, he calls the rest of the group up here, guys, get up here, we got eye shine. So we get up into that spot where we both saw that eye shine, and we're looking down into the woods, and we actually pick it up again. We see that eye shine again. Now, for the record, where we were standing, the edge of the road sloped down several feet and then leveled back out. And it's pretty thick in here, a lot of bushes, trees, and whatnot. So whatever this is we saw, we're seeing it again. But what's interesting about it is, even though we're looking down at it, you can still see that it was small. And we estimated whatever this was probably around 4 feet tall. And on top of that, it was swaying side to side. Kind of quick, fairly fast, very swiftly. And like, what in the world is this? We had no idea what we were seeing. I'm familiar with all the wildlife in this area, and I'm trying to run through my mind, my internal database. What animal, what species is this? Now, yeah, I've seen other animals out there at nighttime that have bright yellow eyes, raccoons, for example. Well, I was like, this is 4 feet tall, you know, what is this? But while we're observing this, another set of eye shine appears about 4 or 5 feet away to the right of this. Now, this one's much taller. This one was easily estimated, we estimated around 6 feet tall. So now I'm like, okay, this is getting a little interesting. We have this one that's around 4 feet tall, swaying side to side, and then now we have a 6 foot one. Now the 6 foot one, now for the record, we're only seeing eye shine, we're not seeing no shapes, we're not seeing no physical features whatsoever. We're just picking up on eye shine at the moment. And this tall one, yeah, it blinked its eyes a few times. I mean, our headlamps were pretty bright. So I'm trying to question myself, why are we not seeing whatever these are? And I wasn't thinking Bigfoot or Sasquatch, nothing at the time. I'm just kind of puzzled because we should be able to make out whatever these are. And I believe part of it was because they must have been just far enough outside of that length of light, you know. And again, keep in mind, this was after midnight, very dark. And so, yeah, we're observing two different subjects right here. I call them subjects. And we got a 4 foot one that's still swaying side to side, and we have a 6 foot one that's just staring at us, blinking his eyes on occasions. And, well, while everyone's looking and focused on that, I decided to pan my eyes and look around in the rest of the area the best I can. In the bushes by a couple trees, very, very low to the ground, I noticed another set of eye shine. And it's probably where I'm standing. I know it seems further, but I'm going to use this gentleman sitting up against this power pole right here. And maybe it's been a little bit further than that, but I'm going to tell you, looking down at this, there was a set of eye shine. And I'm staring at it, and I do point it out without taking my eyes off it. I was like, guys, there's another set of eyes down here. But I'm staring at it, and I'm watching at it, and all of a sudden, this set of eye shine starts growing, like raising up, getting taller and taller and taller. And this comes over top of the bushes. And by the time this set of eye shine stops, it was towering over top of the 6 foot one by another 2 feet. So now we got 3 subjects here. We have a 4 foot subject, a 6 foot subject. Now we're looking at something around 8 feet tall. Same color eye shine, very large, yellowish looking eyes. And they weren't close together. They were pretty well spaced apart. And now this is where it gets a lot more interesting. Again, I'm trying to figure out what it is. My buddy Tracy, I guess because of the excitement and whatever, he was like, guys, we got squatches. Now, when he said that, I was like, no, I wanted to believe that after he said that, but I needed something a little bit more to confirm that. All we're seeing is eye shine. We're not seeing, again, we're not seeing no shapes, no physical features whatsoever. Well, at one point, that tall one actually made a maneuver. It actually turned to its left, took a step or two, and then looked back. Now, while it made that maneuver, I will tell you this, because I think the way it moved and the angle of the light, it picked it up just right. That's when we clearly made out a set of very wide, broad shoulders and a big round head that was sitting on top of those shoulders. And I'll tell you, that was not a bear. Bears don't have big, broad shoulders. Anyone that's familiar with bears, you guys know this. So now during this whole situation, this whole encounter, there was no sound whatsoever. Even though a couple of us were actually getting excited, like my buddy Tracy's son at the time, he was only 14. And yeah, he was, him, maybe one other, they were actually trying to make noises in hopes to trigger a response. But no, we never had no vocals out of them, nothing. I don't know how much time. There's something else I want to add on this too. 2014 was one thing. How am I on time? 5 minutes? Okay, good. That should be enough. So, real quick, the 2014 encounter was one thing. A year later, in that same section of woods, just around the corner, it was during the hunt season, 2015. I was camping out by myself. Nobody else was in the area. I was sitting at my campsite, and I had approximately, I was sitting around, it was approximately around maybe 10 o'clock at night. It was quiet, and I was bored. I wasn't tired. I decided to get up from my camp because I had the fire going. I had my Chevy Blazer sitting there, my shotgun up against my vehicle. And I decided to grab my spotlight, and I didn't turn it on, but I decided to grab my spotlight, walk out to the middle of the forest road, and just stare in there. I don't know. I do this sometimes. I don't know why. It kind of became a habit. But I get out there, look around in the darkness, look around, listen. But anyway, my time's running down. So I had actually started shining my spotlight in the woods to my left, because I'm approximately about 20 feet from the tree line from the other side of the road. And as soon as I shine my light, okay, I kicked up a deer, which was, okay, interesting. There was a deer right there. I spooked the deer. So as I'm panning my spotlight, I'm going around, approaching the 1 to 2 o'clock position. As soon as I hit around the 2 o'clock position, something just inside that tree line. Now, I did not ever see anything, but I will tell you what I heard next was something very large, heavy, and bipedal. I know the sound of bipedal steps. This was very large and very heavy, because every step it took was like a crunch and a thump at the same time. It wasn't a slow walk. They weren't slow steps, but they weren't fast either. And of course, when I heard this, yeah, my heart started thumping. Like, I'm out there by myself, my weapons up again, back at camp, and I'm actually literally walking backwards, trying to reach my key, pushing the button on my keys to make sure it was unlocked if I had to jump inside real quick. Well, real quick, one of the things I wanted to point out about that situation, there was deer present at both situations from 2014 and 2015, prior to having those encounters. Till this day, I question myself, because some people believe that deer is a food source for Bigfoot. Was it a coincidence that there just so happened to be deer there prior to the encounters? Were they getting ready to make a hunt? Did I interrupt something? Those are the questions that run through my mind. So, but yeah, those are a couple of encounters I've had. I've had other little experiences over the years, before that and after that, rocks thrown at me and so forth. But I've heard all kinds of vocalizations over the years. So, but as my time's coming up, I mean, I could probably talk and go on and ramble more. So, but I want to thank everybody for listening in and putting up with me rambling and blab. So, and I'm going to hand the mic over back to Mike. So thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Benoit. Thank you, Daniel.